Hi everyone, it's Rachel Kleinman from rwcrafts.com. Today I wanted to share with you a mixed media tag that I created. I got a lot of new goodies in the mail, so I wanted to start playing ASAP. So right now I am starting with a large tag. I have not done anything to the tag to prep it. I'm putting some distress crackle paste on it over a Crafter's Workshop stencil. The name of the stencil is 593. This is the larger version of the stencil. I do want you to know that I blasted it with my heat gun to activate all of the good crackleness. Hopefully you can see it through the video. If not, it'll show up in the pictures in the end. So now that it's all dried with my heat gun, I'm going over it with some Dina Wakely acrylic paint. This color is buff. So I'm just putting a very neutral background onto my tag. And next I am going to put on top acrylic paint, again by Dina. This one is called Sand. So you can see some of the crackle is getting embedded with that acrylic paste or the acrylic paint. Some of it is not, otherwise again I'm just creating a nice neutral background. This color is kind of my secret go-to color. It is called Mineral. Again, it's by Dina Wakely. It is like a slate gray, but it has a blue tint to it. So it still stays in that very natural color tone, but it's giving you just that little spark of the cool tones that you might want in any of your art projects. So I hit all of that with my heat gun. All of the paint is dry. And now I'm going over it with some white. This is distress paint in Picket Fence. The distress paint is very translucent, so it's not going to paint over, but it's just going to give a nice white look while you still see some of the colors coming through. So now I have, this is like an old sewing pattern. I bought this at a thrift store. I'm sure you can find them anywhere. Even if you have to look on the internet, you can find them very, very cheap. So I like to use these old sewing patterns as collages. They're very thin, so again, they don't completely cover up what you've put on the background. You can cut out any type of design you want. Here I'm just cutting kind of like a scallop circle-y design and I'm going to put it on top, and once I glue it down you'll still be able to see some of the texture coming through that I put with the crackle paste at the very beginning. So now that I've cut out my pattern from my patterns, I am going to glue it down. I like to use this product from Design Memory Craft, which is by Faber-Castell. This is called Honey Medium. It's a really good decoupage medium, and since this paper is so thin, you can just put a little bit on the back and then cover it on top, and it will stay nice and sealed. Once it's dry, it's not going to pull up. So any type of decoupage medium will do. If you have Mod Podge is very common, Mod Podge will work with this as well. So I'm just folding over the backs here again to create a nice seal. And I will also hit this, as it's not shown, but I will hit this with my heat gun to make sure everything is completely dry, because the next step that I'm going to do is some embossing. So now you see I have that same version of the Crafter's Workshop stencil, except this is a small version. So Crafter's Workshop makes all of their stencils in a large version and a small version. So this one is 593S, which stands for small. So I'm going to take these little pebble looking circles and I'm putting my Distress embossing dauber on top. This is a new product. I am already in love with it as far as my mixed media components go. So now that I've put the embossing dauber on top through my stencil, I'm going to add some new embossing glaze. This is also by Tim Holtz. The color I'm using is called Hickory Smoke. So you'll see that the Hickory Smoke color is attaching itself to where the stencil glaze went through. There's also some sticky parts that it naturally wants to cling to, so I just went over it with a brush to clean up the areas that I wanted. And once I brush off the excess, I'm hitting it again with my heat gun. And now I'm going through some little doodads that I've gotten. Again, these are brand new, so of course I wanted to use them. I am using products from Ideology, the Urban Layers, and also Ideology Junk Drawer baseboards, which have more of a chipboard base to them rather than just cardstock. So since I've picked out the ones that I've wanted, I went over them with some brown distress ink just to make it match the background of my tag a little better. I'm adding some lawn fawn twine to the background, and now it's just simply a matter of gluing them on top. So of course it took a lot of behind the scenes picking and choosing how I wanted my design to go. Ultimately I decided on the large circle in the back, which was the rotary telephone, which I love. I grew up with one at home. And then I put the vertical number baseboard there. And then I added the little mini circle on the top, which is like supposed to be a keyboard sticker. And then I ultimately decided to add one more vertical element you see there on the left hand side. And that is my quick tag for this Mixed Media Monday, I guess you could call it. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope I've inspired you to pull out some new products that you have or old products. Please enjoy, get creative, get artsy. It was great to see you today. Thank you so much. Bye.